Hello my friends, it was quite a historical date. President Joe Biden visited Kyiv and met with President Zelensky. It was 15 years since the last time President of the United States visited Ukraine. And I think that it was the big slap on the face of the Putin, because he was planning to get Kyiv under control. He was planning to put his Russian peace all over Ukraine. But what we see now with this visit, after 1 year of war, that Ukraine is heading towards the democracy, not the Russian dictatorship. Here, the President Biden and the United States as a country shows the solidarity with Ukraine. And also with this visit, United States guarantee the support of Ukraine as long as war continues. And then I went to the Russian groups today, to their Telegram channels, to their media. They were very sad about this visit. Before, everyone thought that Biden would go to Poland, but he changed his plans. Now he's in Poland, but today he was in Ukraine. And Putin didn't launch any rockets on Kyiv, even though today there was the air raids in many of the areas of Ukraine, but not at the time of the Biden's visit. I want you to understand that I'm not Biden's fan or something. I'm not supporting Republicans or Democrats in the United States because I'm Ukrainian. I do support what our guys do on the front lines and here on diplomatic field. But clearly it was the good sign today from the United States showing that Ukraine is not part of the Russian influence any longer. And basically the United States will not let Russia win. It means that we'll have more supplies, more ammunitions, and soon Ukraine will go on a counterattack. And today I think even Putin's supporters understood that they cannot win. You see, Putin's main part of the life, that he was the KGB agent, then he started to get some influence, was in the Soviet Union, and by his 40s he lost everything and it was uncertainty for him, and he still has this psychological trauma that West caused to him. And he personally considers that the collapse of the Soviet Union was the main tragedy of the 20th century. And he surrounded himself with the guys who got the same mindset. And today he just got buried under his own propaganda, so it means that Russia is not efficient, Russia lost its teeth. Then President Biden visited Kyiv. Still, Putin will continue this useless war just to prolong his time as the Tsar of Russia, but for sure without any major gains on the front lines. There is the major concern that China might start to supply Russia with the military equipment, and President Zelensky today said, together with the United States ambassador, that it will lead to the Third World War. Can China potentially do it? I think yes, it could be, but their economy is still not that great to withstand the pressure of the coalitions of the democratic countries. And now their economy is getting closer to the big crisis. The first cause was the bankruptcy of the huge building companies in China, the biggest ones in the world. And now they have the population crisis. It's the first year then there was decline in gaining new people in China. And mostly it's all about this communist stupid policy. Then they restrict women for the kid birth, one family, one child policy. And now then they're at the edge of the demographic crisis. They ask their people to give birth more. But people doesn't want it anymore. They got used to the old policy. Plus, they want to invest in one child or two maximum to get them better future. And they start to live better with economic growth, and mostly in the countries with developed economies, there is the decline in the birth rates. Plus the very stupid virus control policy, then all of the world got the immunity and vaccination. China still struggles with the cases. And finally, they have decided to lower the restrictions because they simply afraid of the riots. So I'm sure that in 5 years we will see the huge decline in Chinese economy. It will drop down as well as the population. And China might use this time to accumulate their resources because still they have okay economy. and probably they may attack Taiwan or help Russia with the war in Ukraine. But the probability of it is quite low because China is still very dependent on the Western economies. King Charles visited the shooting range today where Ukrainian soldiers are going through the training, accompanied and trained by the British instructors. And this is the additional military help that will be supplied to Ukraine by the United States of America. You may see that there's just some of the units of the vehicles, but we'll have addition artillery shells, and that's great. Also, President Biden said that the allies, together with the United States of America, will supply to Ukraine around 700 tanks this year. But many of the tanks from this number were already supplied to Ukrainian army by our allies. And now there are some reports that the central part of the Moscow is totally blocked because Putin is on the way to Kremlin, where he will meet his friends, and tomorrow he will address to the public with some sort of the speech. And honestly, I do not expect anything new in his speech. He will continue to blame the Western countries, Ukrainian government for his own faults. The President Vladimir Zelensky said that we may expect some escalation from the Russian side on the front lines during nearby days, but he also said that Russia has drained their best resources and the new assault would be useless. And according to the NATO chief Stoltenberg, Putin is not planning for peace as war in Ukraine heads to its second year. We may hear some calls for peace from the Russian side, but definitely what they really need is the break in this war to consolidate the resources, to produce more weaponry, to enhance their army capability and try to attack Ukraine once again. For Ukraine, it's no-go, and our allies realize that feature. Germany asked their citizens to leave Russia, especially places near to Belgorod, Kursk, Bryansk, Voronezh, Rostov and Krasnodar. Those are the places near to Ukraine. They asked to do it between 20 and 26 of February, so probably they know something. And today there was the monologue of Prigozhin released by Prigozhin himself, where he stated that there is the deep crisis in the supplyment for the Wagner group. He says that Russian Federation can produce enough artillery shells to cover all of the needs. Well, I'm sure that it's not like that, but anyways, let's believe him. And he says that to get the ammunitions to Wagner is almost impossible. Even he, with his own influence and connections, isn't able to do it. I think that there are just two way outs for Prigozhin. He'll be just hidden under the carpet and will soon forget about his existence, or will forget about his existence because it will finishes. I think that he got the conflict with the very wrong guys in the highest Russian elite, and those guys, they like money. And they don't need the new influencer with his private army. Prigozhin went into PR, blaming the Russian officials for the very wrongdoing, and now he continues to do so, so the end for him is very close, unfortunately for him. But there could be the third way out for him to turn around his army against the officials and their regular army. That scenario, I would say almost impossible, but I would like to see that one. So Prigozhin, please stay alive and continue to fight for your rights. If the current situation continues, we may see a very good scenario for Ukraine. Unfortunately, the audio is without the English subtitles, and for me to write them, it will take half a day, so probably I'll do it, but on my Telegram channel. By the way, my friends, check it out. It's in the video description below, or here somewhere you may find the QR code to join the group. Right guys, now let's review the front lines. We have the situation in Bakhmut all the day, all the time, and Russia went across this road over here, and they're moving southbound in attempt to encircle the Bakhmut city. Let's go to the timeline. I just want to show you. It was yesterday and it is today, so a little bit they were pushed away from this position, so it was before, and still they're very close to Yahidna, but without the great movement. So for now the Bakhmut is quite secure with the supply line from the Chasiv Yar. Also near to Crimea, Ukrainian forces moved a little bit forward over here, so it was yesterday and it is today like that, or maybe it was just the clarification of the front lines in this area. Other than that, there are no huge changes on the front lines. Everything is more or less standstill, so the news today are more political about United States and Ukraine. And now, my friends, just press the like to this video. Also, if you want to support my job, there are some of the links under this video in the video description. There you can support me. Thank you so much for your help. Now I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.